Welcome to a new video lesson. In today's lesson, I will give an analysis of Clear Light of Day by Anita Desai. So, let's begin. The next section begins with the mention of the political condition and the social condition of India, of Delhi, where the writing was thoroughly present throughout the country, and the slaughtering was done on both sides of the new border. So, as I have told in previous lectures also, that this hinting is always there. There is no direct mention of the partition, there is no focusing on the partition, but there is a subtlety in the mentioning. There is a subtlety in the mentioning of the things that are happening in the society, and within those things the family is dealing with its own problems. Okay, during this writing, during these slaughters alongside the border, on the both sides of the border, what comes here, what arrives to the Delhi house of Bhim is a letter. A letter came from Hyder Ali. Bhim ran to the room of Raja, as Raja was excitedly shouting and calling Bhim. Dr. Biswas was there. Dr. Biswas said, Raja, don't row. And this is seen in Dr. Biswas said, Bhim, he shouted sitting up in bed, look, a letter from Hyder Ali Sahib. Dr. Biswas was present at that time. So they were always in a worry of what is happening, of what happened to Hyder Ali's house. So the information is now coming. Okay, so the information is, she gave a shiver to the touch of ice. Raja's anxiety was transfixed. Both had wondered if Hyder Ali were not dead, murdered while trying to escape to Pakistan. So they had thought that Hyder Ali might have escaped to Pakistan. Obvious assumption, no doubt. But what we will find here is that where are they, Raja? Bhim asks, and he says that in Hyderabad, quite safe. So in Hyderabad, Hyder Ali Sahib's mother lives there and sister also lives there. They went there in order to be safe. As we all know, Hyderabad was dominated, the area of Hyderabad was dominated by Nizams, and it was Muslim dominated area. So comparatively they were safe there in comparison to Delhi. Okay, so they shifted there, and the most important thing that touched Raja's heart is that Hyder Ali sent a letter to Raja. He said joyfully, wasn't it good for Hyder Ali to write to me, unquote. So what we see here is that as Raja thought Hyder Ali, or took Hyder Ali to be his ideal, he looked up to him, he always adored him, and this person is caring enough to write back to Raja in order to inform their presence, inform their situation, touched Raja's heart. He handed Bhim the letter with a share of joy to it. They read, and the thing went on. I wondered how they did the journey. He does not say. Of course he can't. It is not safe to. Only I wish he had told me. He could have trusted me. How could he, Raja? And the sort of friends you picked up at college. So now it is being projected here that the friends, those who were Raja's friends at college, were mostly the rioters. Okay, they are involved in all the mass picketing and the destruction of property. They weren't my friends, they were traitors. So what you see here is that before this passage, and they were calling Raja the traitor, because they were against the idea of Pakistan, and also against the idea of any person of India supporting the idea of Pakistan. Okay, so they are being called traitor by Raja. I was never one of them. He says that he was never one of them. He knew, that's why he has written to you. So he has been consoled. Look, Bhim, he has asked me to look up to the house. So if responsibility is given to a child, if responsibility is given and by a person whom you idealize rather, it gives you a sense of responsibility, it gives you a sense of importance. That is what is happening to Raja. Okay, of course, said Beam, springing up. Has he left anything there? Does he want me to see if there is safe and everything? So the instruction not specific. She went instantly, calling to Baba to put his pebbles away and come with her. They crossed the road together, her hand on his elbow, to the house that had stood silent and dark across from them for weeks now. So the house that they were looking at from the terrace, they are now going there. They here means Beam and Baba, as Raja is not well, not recovered, he is not able to go there. So the next section describes the visiting to Hyder Ali's house in Delhi, the visiting of Bim to Hyder Ali's house. Okay, so entered the house. Baba turned as if to go back and drew closer to Bim, although she gave him a little encouraging push. So they moved forward. The house was strangely unlit, like a body whose life and warmth they were accustomed to and took for granted, now grown cold and stiff and faded. So what we see here is that the house is compared to a human body, as if the house is dead now. So the house becomes representative of all the dead bodies which are lying anywhere in the country, okay, due to riots. So what we see here is that humans are the lives of the house. Similarly, when humans have left those houses, they are nothing but like dead bodies. Okay, so what we see here is that they have taken this house which was bustling with energy and everything throughout the year, through evenings. They have taken it for granted, the enjoyment, the merriment, the assembly of people. They have taken these things for the warmth of people. They have taken all this for granted. But what they are seeing now, the uncanny presence of darkness. Okay, so these things leave an impact on the mind of Bim. These things leave an impact or give an impression of the society. Okay, so what we see here is that the ideology of being nurtured, the ideology of being nurtured in a way where life is present is gone. The life of the house is gone. They have shifted to Hyderabad, right? So they envied the roses still bloomed in the formal beds of precise geometrical shapes, but their petals lay scattered and unswept. As if we say a rose, the first image that comes to our mind is of a red rose, right? So the roses are blooming, but the formal beds or all the formal petals were lying scattered and unswept. So this is similar to the blood that has been spilled all over the country, which remains uncleaned, even after 70 years of independence. Those memories still haunt people, right? Those So the flower imagery, which was supposed to be um a one where you would be happy to see it, right? But using the flower imagery, the writer Anita Desai is trying to project the gruesomeness that has happened outside this house, the gruesomeness, the bloodshed that has happened throughout the country. Okay, so what we see here is that in simplistic ways she is trying to trying to portray the gruesomeness that has happened throughout, right? So um, also what we see here is that even the gardeners had gone. Ripe fruits had fallen to the ground beneath the trees along the drive, ripe mangoes and guavas, and they lay rotting, uh, tossed by a few birds and then left mutilated. These words are important. Rotting, tossed by a few birds, mutilated. These words are important. The words used to describe the natural world is that of the world of the humans, which is facing devastation, as several human bodies are left to rot after the attacks. Similar symbolism is incorporated through the fruits, through nature. As human bodies are mutilated, same imagery is brought in through the mutilation of the fruits by the birds picking some parts. Okay, so as rioters ended up destroying the property, ended up destroying lives, taking lives. They are not only just killing people, they are also mutilating thousands of people, right? So similar things are described through the garden of Hyder Ali, though nothing has happened here, like the bloodshed or the human mutilation, or no murder has taken here, but the imagery of the fruits, the flowers that is happening here in the absence of humans, all those things are happening outside in the presence of humans, right? So Baba raises his arm to protect his face and dark, but Beam held his hand and led him on. So what we see here is that the motherly instinct is present within Beam. It was present within Beam from the beginning, but now in the absence of both the parents, as they have died, Beam has become much more concerned about her siblings. Though Tara has someone to lean to, but for Baba, who is somewhat mentally challenged person, for him Beam is the only support. The fan light above the door glowing in the orange evening light, but when they pushed open the door, it was painted porcelain handle went in the bulb inside, and everything. The description is there. What most is the most important thing is the hooks empty and wilted potted plants. Everything was empty. Okay, so was nothing there but a hash stand with the many extended hooks. All the rooms were unnaturally enlarged by emptiness. So when we feel the rooms with all the instruments, all the things that we need for a home, the room becomes smaller and smaller and it becomes personalized, right? But what we see here is that in the absence of things that were of daily use, of human requirement, and the room appears to be larger. Okay, so and all the furnitures, the large pieces, had been taken, all the small objects of ornaments and comfort had been taken away. Only the large pieces of furniture are left here, like the heavily carved sofa, marble top tables, and everything. So the cushions, vases, silver boxes, and colored. So this, as if they sulked and looked as accusing as abundant husbands in the gloom. So all those things are used, all those things are used for the continuous reference of the human world through the non-living world. The non-living world is continuously used to refer to the human world. Okay, the human world which has been abandoned by their relatives or by their family members and anything, right? So the squares or blocks and the walls from their pictures had been removed and marked by brown rims of green. So they have taken the photos, right? Only the rims remain. They walked down the tiled passage, opened the frosted glass pan, half expecting to find someone left behind. So seeing these things, seeing this empty house, they were always thinking, they were continuously thinking of finding someone who has been left behind. Spool saved of laugh fluttering the ghost fan, or the kitchens Benazir used to play with and cuddle, but there was no one there. A mirror on the wall flashed a blank, empty glare at them. So, the human imagery or the personification is being done over here, as if we always look into the mirror in order to see ourselves, but now the room is so empty, the room is devoid of its people, devoid of its family member, that the mirror is now reflecting back, as if it is glaring back at everything, on people, on Beam and Baba. Okay, at the library door, Beam hesitated with his hand and glass knob, which he intensely wanted to see, where Raja had for years regarded as his own retreat, his spiritual home. He somehow not daring to violate what she had kept scrupulously private. Would the book still be there? She wondered. She walked past without looking to see. Someday Raja could come here about them. Okay. He did not dare to take a look over there. Only Benazir's room, there was still a childish, girlish devilish threw across over. So Benazir, who is Hyder Ali's daughter and later will become Raja's wife, so that still remains, that childish, that sense of love, that sense of childlike want still remained there. Beam curled up her lip. Benazir was untidy. She noted a spoilt only child. Can't I, and I quote, can't I take them with me? She seemed to hear the pouting voice. Oh, why can't I? So, as Benazir's things are left here and there, Beam is imagining the questions that Benazir might have asked before leaving. As a child, she was maybe she was not able to understand the graveness of the situation. For a child, everything that she holds to or he holds to becomes important. Okay, so there are so many things which are important to the child. As we grow up, we try to figure out what are the most important things, right? So this childlike innocence is seen through the untidy room of theirs. Okay, Baba had been silent all through the ghostly tour, keeping close to her. Now he pointed his finger and made a little desperate sound like a bell. The don't ring has passed. Baba looked. What? She asked. Baba nodded off and she went with him to the corner where an old fashioned his master's voice gramophone stood on the small three-legged table. So this is the gramophone, as we have seen in the first chapter. This is the gramophone that Baba keeps on playing. He is going to take this from here, on the lower shelf of which has stacked the records. Okay, Benazir and her friends had listened to it in the afternoons. Bim shuffled through them out of curiosity, unlike the music family enjoyed from the drawing room, listening to these American foxtrots. Quick steps with the World War and the American GIs and British Tommies had brought to India. What would Raja think of a taste? That was a question that hovered over Bim's head. So, come, let's go, said Baba, turning away. Let's go and look in the servants' quarter. There may be someone. But Baba would not go. So, Baba was not going away. Baba is willing to take the gramophone with him. Okay, so Bim is constantly asking Baba to come along. Then, but he was not willing to go. If you want it, I suppose there's nothing to stop you. Take it. So, as things happen during riots, anyone takes anything from anyone's house, right? So, but this is happening in a more innocent way, where a childlike person is wanting to get what he felt attached with within a second. He raised his chin and gave her a shy, fearful look and hoped then and followed her more willingly. So, as Bim said that he can take anything he wants, as there is no one to stop him, but before that they need to find whether there is anyone outside at the back or anywhere. So this elated Baba, and he was willing to go again with Bim. Okay, so they had opened the door onto the back veranda, and there behind the wood box found the dog, which whined so pathetically in such shrunken faced voice. It was Hyder Ali's dog. They had not been able to take her with them. It was exceptionally sweet. Bim cried, "It's Begum." Okay, so the dog's name is Begum. So she patted over the capture. "We will have to take her back with us, or she will starve." So the humanity is still present within in Bim. She could have left the dog over here, but the feelings that she has, the feelings that she likes to spread her love towards everyone, is evident for animals also. She is not leaving Begum here to starve. The voices and the ecstatic whining half-starved creature. When they moved around and saw the heavily barred wooden door, but obvious features was that it was not intimidating, okay, to the owner of the eyes. One of the Hyder Ali's old servant, the groom who had looked after Hyder Ali, his white mare, came sliding out. Okay, so what we see here is that he slammed extravagantly. "Please don't speak so," Bim cried in surprise and whispered. "Please don't speak so loudly. People may come. They may call the police. I will be taken to jail." "I" here means Hyder Ali's servant. Bhim was surprised. Bhim was shocked to see a person suddenly. So he screamed out. So the person is saying that not to scream him, as police might come and people might inform the police and he might be taken to jail. Bhim was puzzled. Why would he be taken to jail? Because what have you done? She asked. You haven't murdered the Hyder Ali family, have you? So Bhim is saying that the poor man nearly screamed in terror. They will take me to jail, question me, he hissed. They will torture me till I speak. That is what they do, I have heard. So the hysteria, the fear was such deeply engrossed within the servant that he believes that the absence of Hyder Ali because of the murder. Okay, as the murder is the new norm, the new normal thing in this society, the murder of people who are the minority, depending on the situation, depending on the place you are in. Okay, so what we see here is that the information that has not reached the servant that they have moved to Hyderabad. So he is thinking that he might have been murdered, and Ali, as Ali's servant is the only one living, he might be put to jail. Okay, so he asked, what information have you got? None, not at all. Wine. The police will want to know. They will ask. They will think I helped them to escape. So the police, he is also thinking that he might be taken to jail because he has helped them escape. So it is not the murder. He has not murdered. He won't be taken to on the jail. He won't be taken to the jail because of murdering, but because of helping them to escape. So see, it is funny and it is gruesome to some extent, to a large extent rather, by thinking of the situation that is happening, because you should have been taken to jail if you have murdered, but more grave scene, more grave problem, more grave crime for a person in these times, during the partition, during the independence, is to help a Muslim to escape from here. So he is hinting that the police might help themselves in order to keep this servant in jail, as because he has helped them. Okay, so helping people escaping these dire situations, these riots, is a more criminal offense than murdering one. See how the mentality is overpowered. If you are a Muslim, you do not have the right to shift from one home to another. The mentality of hatred is incorporated within people, which leads them to believe and follow things which are not right, which are not at all right. Escape? They have every right to leave their house in Delhi and go to live in their house in Hyderabad. That is what I was saying, that they have every right to shift from one house to another house where they are escaping, and they are neither murderers, Hyder Alis, and neither murderers, neither looters, nor rioters, nor any kind of criminal, right? They have every right to shift from one house to another, right? But the crime that they have done, according to the servant, or according to the police, or according to the social justification or the social position, is said here by the old man, but they are Muslims. So for being a Muslim, you cannot travel, you cannot move from one place to another. That is the position of the society. That is the irony of the society. Right. So, being a Muslim and traveling from one place to another becomes escape, as if you are criminal being a Muslim. Right. So, Anita Desai is leaving so many questions, so many blatant questions in front of the face of the people, in front of the readers. That was a society where people were considered to be criminal if they move from one place to another. It was considered to be an escape. We should not have allowed them to go, the old man saying. So the mentality of the people is so engrossed, the mentality of the people is so, they are so brainwashed with the idea of the nation, the idea of the nation for one religion, where the other is the destroyer, the other is a criminal, happens to be imprinted on the servant so much that he is considering it to be wrong to help his master, help his bread provider to leave this place, as if he has some moral responsibility from the perspective of the society, from the perspective of the country, to hold them. Such an irony. You had better go away, Bhim told in disgust, because she can't relate with him. Right. Yes, Hyder Ali Sahib, she also asked that, did Hyder Ali Sahib leave you any money? Yes, Hyder Ali Sahib was always good to me, Muslim though he was. So he is saying as if Muslims are not generally good. That is the idea which is imprinted in the society. That is the idea which is imprinted by the society into the people, that Muslim are your enemies, you need to deal with them. Right. These mentality has been such, this jingoistic nationalism rather, in Tagore's terms, this jingoistic nationalism has been rooted so much in the minds of people that they have turned the servants against the landlords, even if the landlord was so generous one, before leaving he gave the servant enough money to survive, but he is still considering the idea of the world, the idea of the society has been imprinted in his mind so heavily that it has become the dominant idea within him. The help that Hyder Ali has done, the support that he has given, the generosity he has shown to the servants becomes minimal. Okay. So what we see here is that, then you had better come to our house, Janaki will give you bed. So Bhim is saying that he can come to his house and live there. Janaki is the maid servant of Bhim's house. And where is Hyder Ali Sahib's horse? She asks that. He straightened up then and babbled quickly. Oh, Hyder Ali Sahib gave her away to Lala Ram Narayan, who helped them to pack and leave. Okay. He tried to send Begum also, but Begum would not leave the compound. She lay on the ground. So see the generosity of the person. She is not, the person is not just after taking care of his own family members, of the humans, but he considers the horse, he considers the dog also to be his family. So he gave the horse to a person who had helped him, though it might seem that in return of help he has given that, but for the dog he has also tried to send Begum. She tried to bite me, see. So he had rolled up his sleeves and shown them. So Baba suddenly darted past them and disappeared into the house. She stopped to wait for him as they were leaving. Baba went past them and into the house. She stopped to wait for him, wondering at the unusual decisiveness of his movements. So, Baba is never decisive. He is always with his pebbles. Right? He is always playing with his pebbles. He is not decisive enough to to move so confidently, move around, and to do things. But what we see here is that the liking that he has, the liking that Baba has for the gramophone made him so ardent that he is moving along. In little while he came out staggering under the weight of the gramophone that he carried in his arms. Okay, so Baba, oh Baba, she grumbled, helping him. Do you want to have this stupid old thing? Benazir can always write. Baba's face fall. Benazir can always write and ask for it when she wants it. Come, Begum, come. So finally she followed them across the road and into their own garden, growing more animated and more upright as she realized she was welcome here. So what we see here is that Benazir Beam is saying that Baba not to be attached, to get attached with these things, that the thing that he is taking, that is the gramophone, as he is saying that Benazir might ask for it. Okay, but what Beam is trying to do here is that she is trying to lessen the hopes that is present within Baba, hopes of owning a thing which is not actually his. Besides, she is asking, or rather encouraging the dog to come out of the gate and leave with them. Finally, the dog, that is Begum, crossed the street, crossed the road and came into their garden, where the dog felt that it is being welcomed over here. Okay. On the other side, Raja was waiting on the veranda. Bimran came forward, said, Raja, why didn't you wait in bed and everything? I have found a quarter for Bhakta. Bhakta is Hyder Ali's servant who has been found in the house. Okay. Benazir's gramophone, Raja said in astonishment at the sight of Baba so carefully and proudly carrying it in his treasure. And records, she used to play those records when her friends came. I used to see them dancing together. So all these memories are running back. That what I wanted to tell you, Bim, Raja said soberly. She wouldn't mind Baba have it, will she? You can write and tell her about it, but go to bed now. So that you'd better go and see Mirama. She does not seem very well. So another person who has been a support, the only person rather who has been a support to the children, is now falling apart. Okay, Miramasi, we do not know Miramasi's importance till now. We will be learning about her coming into the family in chapter 3 and her impact on the children. But as a teacher, I would like to give you a hint that it was because of Miramasi that these children are brought up well. But now she is losing her parts. Right? She is losing her balance. Okay, Raja had bolted the door on the outside, drawing back, and she had clawed on her clothes from her body so that her blouse hung in strips. So she is delusional. Um, she is not in control of her mind. She is doing things which a normal person would not do. In a kind of halting dancing, her feet getting tangled in torn muslin, her one hand jerking at her side, her the other held onto a glass which smelt of unmistakably like raw undiluted liquor. So she has also become alcoholic, and she is losing her senses. She say the and yes, there is brandy bottles everywhere, but Aunt Mira stepped aside as lightly as a nimble old goat, and making comical face and the beam's dismay sang out, said nightingale in the rose. So what we are seeing here is that Beam is being constantly forced to take the position of the head of the family. She is the head of the family. She is taking the charge, but the care of Aunt Mira for the children is losing. The care that Aunt Mira had for the children is losing, because she is not in her own senses. When her feet caught in the loop trailing Muslim, they stumbled and knocked on the bottle and fell with it. So she sang those uh, that song, what is say the nightingale in the rose and everything. Mira's seeing it leak and spread about her feet, soaked shed clothes, and Mira stopped mid song and clasped her throat, gave a little choked cry, and sank into the bed, whimpering. So she is becoming insane. Okay, constantly, and what we see here is that there is a presence of Baba in another room where Baba is uh, into his new liking. Where next room, Baba's room, a strange rasping roar started. That is the roar of the gramophone. Okay, the trail approaching the tunnel underneath the lamppost. So at one moment, what we see that at one moment the life is ending, at one moment the song is ending, and at another moment, consequently, there is a rise of the song. Okay, so next passages tell about the deterioration, the description of the deterioration of Aunt Mira's. That has been said over here. Masi, they say I am silly. Masi, they called me a fool. The child finger stuck and everything. What we see here is that all those things that has happened to be the powerful figure is losing their power. Okay, so Hyder Ali, who has such an impact on Raja, who has been such a had such great impact on all the people who were there, is now removed from his own position to another place where it is being thought that he has escaped. He has not shifted from one place to another, but one house office to another house, but he has shifted. He has escaped. He has not shifted, he has escaped. Similarly, Aunt Mira, who held such reigns in the family, many things happened according to her wishes. Okay, regarding the children, obviously. But what we see here is that she is also losing the balance. But another thing with life is that life always moves on. One loses balance, another takes the step to hail the rain. Okay, so what we see here is that she is losing her balance, whereas Beam is taking control of the things. So let's end it here. And she sucked, loved, and sucked and cried and everything. She is moaning, she wanted help, she reached out for the hand would help and protect her. So we will discuss about these things in the next class. She could not manage them, Aunt Mira could not manage them, consoling. They made such harsh, piercing sounds in her ears. She wished they would stop. Not Aunt Mira, Beam wished that it would stop. She pulled her white hair about her face, shielding herself and everything. But what we see here is that Beam has been thrusted into positions where she is forced to take control of the situation. She is unable to control everything, but she tries her best to take care of everyone in the family. Okay, so we will deal with this in the next class. Thank you.